Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode 142 today for the Italian Grand Prix in Season 8. If you guys did miss the previous one, a pretty chaotic one at the Belgium Grand Prix, and a race that has blown the championship wide open, then be sure to go check the one out before you see this one because, well, spoiler alert, myself and Lando Norris had a very tough time at Belgium, scoring 0 points in the end after incidents on lap 1 with myself and Verstappen, and then also Jack Aiken. I assume Lando got caught up with Verstappen or something or other. He was away from us, but he actually ended up also breaking his front wing on lap 1, and we had to come back through that one. And then, spoiler alert, at the sharp end, it was George Russell dominating things, and then a little bit further back, Schumacher and Ocon, so our other two rivals. So 3 of them scored big points to get themselves back into things, but it means we've got an 11-point deficit then to George Russell. Then things are super close between myself, Ocon, Norris, and even Schumacher, really. You know, if he has a bit more consistency maybe in the final few rounds, he could genuinely start to close up now to Ocon and Norris maybe, and myself, of course, but all 3 of us, we're looking ahead rather than backwards, because all 3 of us have got to try and cut down an 11-point deficit, which, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but we've only got 5 races left, and if Russell continues this bulletproof consistency he's had since Austria of first, second, first, it's going to be, you know, difficult to wear down 11 points, because if he keeps getting podiums and is never off the top 2 steps, you know, you've got to win the race and beat him for second, but that's only 7 points then, so, and you've got everyone else to contend with as well, you know, every other rival you've got, so it is difficult, but, you know, we'll move on. Italy has always been a difficult one on the F1 game because it's an absolute slipstream fest, so you just don't know actually who's going to do well, especially if you're all within 1 second, all within DRS, constantly overtaking each other. And as I said, the race may be a whirlwind, qualifying a bit more straightforward, just trying to go as fast as we can, and hopefully the FOM My Team car is going to be decent, but we've seen Alfa Romeo have been mighty in a straight line. McLaren, I would have said that they should be strong around here, but they've just really not looked, you know, comfortably there. Ocon's not really quite been as consistent as he was at the start of the season, so I'm not too sure about them anymore. And even also Red Bull, you know, Lando's qualified and been knocked out of Q2 a couple of times, and Sainz has been woefully slow in the last, well, the whole season really, but especially the last couple of episodes, being way down the order versus Lando Norris, and the Red Bull just has not looked that great on Saturday. It's gone quicker in the races, clearly, because Lando's in the championship fight, but yeah, but in Q1, it was a bit of a shock to see Verstappen right there at the sharp end. Obviously, Q1 doesn't really factor too much into it, because Luca Giotto is in P4 in a Williams. You've got the Alfa Romeos down the order behind the Ferrari, so don't really know what went on there in terms of just lap times not getting in. We're up in P3, but like I said, you know, Q1, it's kind of meaningless for us top cars in terms of that's not the true out-and-out pace, but no massive shocks in terms of people being knocked out there. So we go now through into Q2, a little bit overcast on the left-hand side there, so I'm hoping we don't have a repeat of Belgium where we're looking so strong and then the pace drops off because it gets colder and more overcast. But in Q2, no signs of slowing down. A very decent lap time there, just ahead of Russell, Hamilton and Ocon, and we end this session fastest of all with Schumacher joining us in second place. So that's real strong pace, and that's 3/10 ahead Schumacher is to Russell, so that's really promising for the top 10 shootout. But Russell and Latifi once again both through, showing the Alfa Romeo car just as a team, they've got a strong car in a straight line, low drag set up, that even Latifi, a man who is 2 seconds off Russell's pace in Hungary, is able to make it through. So the car paying dividends here at this circuit for sure. You've got Lando and Ocon through, so all our main championship rivals are through, so this is going to be a really interesting top 10 shootout, I think. And going into that shootout, you can see we've got our teammate Schumacher right ahead of us. Now, he's on a fast lap as well, as are we starting our first flyer. So just like they do in real life, I'm essentially going to be getting a tow from my teammate here. I didn't plan to do this. I didn't time it. I just clicked drive out, but I just happened to spawn in on the flying lap just behind Schumacher, and it's working wonders, because straight away off turns 1 and 2, didn't get the greatest exit compared to the AI, but we're able to pull ourselves in, and you can just kind of visually see, I was feeling it though in the cockpit, that we're getting pulled along basically, and the air is thinning behind Schumacher, punching a hole through the air. And so this is literally what they do in real life, and this is going to work out beautifully, I think, for us as we're coming through Ascari section now to the last straight, now towards Parabolica, and you're just going to see us gaining and gaining and gaining so much time, and this is going to pay dividends on that final time on the top right. Schumacher a little bit wayward on the rear end. I'm a little bit understeery on the front, but that doesn't matter. We've gained enough time across the line. Not surprising, we beat Schumacher's time, and we go fastest of all. Schumacher in second place, and we just pull alongside to kind of, almost thank him for the tow. Now, I wanted to repay the favour for him like they do in real life. They would swap positions and the other person would give the other teammate, the other person, a tow. So I set out here and I was going to slow down and wait for Schumacher to leave the pit and give him a tow. But to my surprise, you can see on the top right, 1 minute 21. It's now far too late for them to come out. Even if one of them drove out now, they wouldn't make it round for another flying lap, which was very, very confusing. No one else has gone. I'm literally the only car here on track, so I don't know if everyone burnt their tyres up. The only man that's out there is one of the Alpha Tauris, I think, so everyone is settling for their first flyer. So the top left, we're on pole position. Schumacher second, Latifi in third, Gasly fourth. I think that was Lando Norris in fifth place there. And confirmation, there we have it. A very anticlimactic ending, but we have got pole position for the Italian Grand Prix, and it's a 1-2 for the team. That is literally the perfect qualifying there. I mean, amazing teamwork from Schumacher, giving me the slipstream and the tow to allow me to get pole position. I'm surprised he didn't go out again. Like I said, whether he burnt tyres, I'm not sure, because a lot of people didn't go out for a second lap. But it means that the likes of Nicholas Latifi, he's the lead Alfa Romeo. I don't know what Russell's playing at. He's down in P10. He's behind the Alpha Tauri. He's way behind Lando in P5. Ocon P8 behind Hamilton. The two McLarens, like I said, not looking that quick on the Saturday, but Russell 1.9 off pole, just showing his first lap wasn't even that great. So I don't know, he just literally must have used two tyres to get through into Q3 maybe. So there we have it, a 1-2 for the team, a very surprising one to me, and I'm sure to all of you as well, because genuinely the FOM My Team cards are not usually that great around Italy, and the AI are very, very good around here in the slipstream as well. So it's going to be a very interesting race though, because we are going to be the ones that are chased. I'm in pole, so I'm going to have no DRS if I'm leading the race on lap number 3. So it's not going to be an easy race for sure from the front. It's actually going to be harder, if anything, being the guys chased down, because you can easily give people the DRS and the slipstream. But that's the name of the game around here at Monza. Let's go to the grid for Sunday.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6-mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes, and with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Why don't we begin by discussing Alexander Albon? Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. It's the owner-driver in pole position then, and Mick Schumacher completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Latifi, Gasly, Lando Norris, and Hamilton, Ocon, Bottas, Russell, and Max Verstappen, Matsushita, Giovinazzi, Charles Leclerc, and Stroll, Giotto, Albon. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Nick de Vries and Carlos Sainz, Kvyat, Aitken, Magnussen, and Guan Yu Zhou. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are then on pole position for the Italian Grand Prix. I feel like it's been a long while since we've been on pole. We've been on the front row, but the pole, I think the last time was maybe halfway through Season 7. I think race strategy-wise for this one, it is going to be a one-stop. And it's not going to be about the tyre wear, really. There might be some tyre wear factoring in a little bit in the stints, but really the strategy is going to be the actual on-track driving in terms of obviously trying to maintain our first place, but not wanting to fight, the likes of Schumacher and immediate cars around us too much, because then it allows the rest of the pack to close in with DRS. It's going to be a really tough one to try and call and to master, but here we go then from pole position at Monza. We go to 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix, and we're underway. It's a bit of a sheepish start from us. A lot of wheel spin in second gear, and Schumacher gets a great launch, drop into Rich Mix ERS, but Schumacher is already past us into turn 1, taking it easy. We block off the inside curb to make sure Gasly or Latifi don't send it down the inside. Gasly and Latifi side by side. Gasly is up into 3rd place in the Mercedes car. There's a massive squabble behind them, and already there's a gap built from Latifi downwards. So already you're seeing, when the AI fight each other, they're losing time to the top pack here as we try and chase after Schumacher. But maybe this is why I can't speak for the other AI, the other teams, but maybe this is why Schumacher didn't go for a second run, why he didn't want the help of a slipstream tow to get himself on pole position, because he knew his plan was to get a great launch, get a little bit of slipstream off me maybe, and get to the inside of turn 1 to lead the race when it matters most, when the race is going. Doesn't matter qualifying, there's no points there for pole position, so maybe that was Schumacher's wily old plan, but if it was, it's working. If not, it's still working out for him. In 1st place, we're in 2nd, Gasly 3rd, like I said, Latifi 4th, and you can see behind then a battle for P5 between Lando Norris and it's Lewis Hamilton, the lead McLaren, with Ocon struggling a little bit at the start of this Grand Prix, and these two going side by side all the way through Parabolica, a great sight, and then a bit further back, going through Parabolica a bit later, George Russell, you can see in the background there, 3 wide with the AlphaTauri and the Ferrari. Think of Leclerc potentially, as Russell is in a box essentially with the AlphaTauri, the Racing Point car, and this is what I mean. This is a great race for the likes of myself, Lando, and if Ocon wants to pick up the pace, all 3 of us, and Schumacher included, could close the gap to Russell on the points. If he continues to get stuck in that fight, I'm sure, he's got the pace, clearly, because Latifi's there fighting for 3rd with Gasly, so the pace is there in the Alfa Romeo. It's not been lost overnight from Belgium to here, but because of that poor qualifying from Russell, he's in the pack, and it doesn't matter what your pace is like over 1 lap and what it is on paper. In reality, if you get stuck in a box, if you get stuck in the pack, if you fight too much around this circuit, you're going to lose time. It's a really weird kind of concept of you almost don't want to fight your rivals too much, and you all kind of want to work together but not together to close up to the cars ahead, kind of using DRS off each other. But in terms of our world, I've got no one to work with right now. We're on our own kind of. We've got well over a second behind us to Gasly and Latifi, so no one's catching up to us. But at the same point, Schumacher has bolted at the start of this race, and I'm finding it difficult to close up as he's showing some electric pace around here, and we're just not driving that great. We're losing too much time, especially in the second sector, but I mean, we're kind of going red all the time, but kind of expected with some tyre wear. But you can see right there is a massive mistake, and we almost put it in the wall. Kind of lucky that it was kind of just out at the apex, so it wasn't carrying too much speed there. But trying to wring the neck out of this car and maximise everything. But now we're understeering to that corner, taking it too deep. And yeah, I'm just not driving that well at this first part of this race. But it doesn't matter, because our car's got the overwhelming pace, it would seem. But more importantly, like I said, with that second gap, more than 1 second gap to Gasly, I'm not being attacked because Gasly's too busy defending against Latifi. You can see Latifi's well within DRS of Gasly, so those two are fighting a bit and squabbling, and that's helping me out. Even despite that poor driving, I'm able to maintain 2nd place, although we're losing time, more and more time to Schumacher, which is not ideal, but it is just the way it is right now in this first stint. Meanwhile, though, Lando is being attacked and sandwiched by the 2 McLarens, and Ocon comes through, and he's going to make a great double passing that was, because he's got past Hamilton already, and he's got through Lando. He kind of cut across him there, and so Ocon's finally woken up in this Grand Prix, and that is him up into 5th place, Lando up into down to 6th now as he defends against Hamilton. But Lando and Ocon now in good positions. I think for P5 and P6, the amount of points they'd get, they'd close just up to George Russell at the moment as it stands. 2nd place, although annoying that Schumacher's pulling away, 2nd place, 18 points, not too bad. If Russell, I think he's still down in like P10 or P9 in that massive pack of the 2 Ferraris and Racing Point and a Williams car. If he's still there, all 3 of us are going to be pretty damn happy at the end of this race in terms of closing up to Russell in the championship. And then also Schumacher winning the race will also close him up as well. So this could be very, very important, as last race was, for the championship, and could make things very tasty then going into the Singapore Grand Prix. But right now, it's looking like, it just seems like Lando's probably sizing up a move. But you know what? Hamilton looks closer to Lando than Lando does to Ocon. So let's just watch this on and see. It looks like the McLarens are waking up in this race, but the Red Bull's coming back with DRS. It's going to be 3 wide yet again between these 3 cars. And Norris on the inside has to defend against Hamilton as he overtakes Ocon. And in the end, it might be Hamilton with a double overtake. No, the Red Bull gets the acceleration. The 2 McLarens now are fighting so much they make contact in Parabolica on the next lap. And now Leclerc out of nowhere. The 2 Ferraris knocked out of Q2. They're looking pretty decent right now. And Leclerc makes the double pass on both McLarens. Can he finish it off into turn 1? It's getting very close between the 2 Papaya orange cars. And Ocon is really suffering because of that. He got squeezed out by Hamilton to the point where he's now being overtaken by his second Ferrari. So Ocon, he was looking so good for a moment, for a brief moment. He was up into P5, beating Lando there, and now he's down 3 positions. And that's how quickly things can change in Italy if you're in a DRS train, if you're in the 5. Meanwhile, speaking of a DRS train, Russell stuck behind the Racing Point car there. We saw, you know, we've seen how good the Racing Point has been in the past in this straight line, so no surprise maybe Russell's finding it difficult. But meanwhile, look at Latifi, his teammate in the other Alfa Romeo. He's flying, he's loving life, and he's up into P3. Latifi is doing what Russell usually does. So, you know, the car is clearly still that quick. You know, he's fighting the Mercedes for P3 here. So it's just the fact that Russell's been stuck in that traffic that is just hurting him so much. And Gasly comes back at him, but look at Latifi go, and he comes right back on him on the acceleration, and he gets him back. Latifi's back into 3rd. Gasly actually can't get past him. Can he try again, maybe through the Curva Grande into the next chicane, the left-hander? No. And the Alfa Romeo maintains P3 and is looking very good. The Canadian is shining when usually it's been his British teammate for the last 4 episodes especially, so it's his time to shine. Meanwhile, up the road, Schumacher just doing a solid job in 1st place. And I've just got to hold up my hands and say he's the quicker man right now. You can see I'm going wide here. My tyres are going off. I want to come in on this lap. Even though we're maybe 2 laps out from the scheduled pit stop, I'm going to say box in this lap because I am not feeling these soft compounded tyres. We've lost a further second. It's 3.6 the gap to Schumacher now. So we're not even anywhere near to be chasing after him for the race lead. We need to try and do something. So hopefully the undercut could bring us closer. But at the same time, like I said, although on one hand it's annoying to be losing this time to Schumacher, and I just can't do anything to close up to him, when we're gaining and we're maintaining time on Gasly. The gap is 3.1. That's grown because he's been busy fighting Latifi. He's in 3rd place actually now, so he must have got Latifi back somewhere away from a replay camera that we didn't see. So he's been busy fighting the Alfa Romeo, and that's helped us out. So we're just in no man's land, just kind of vibing in 2nd place really. Doesn't make for a exactly enthralling Grand Prix in our POV, but there's been plenty of racing action elsewhere to keep you guys entertained in this race. But for us, it's a pretty straightforward plan here. Onto a set of medium tyres. I hope I can get an undercut on Schumacher, but how much of an undercut I can get, it's very debatable. So we're going to see how close we can get to Schumacher, and then it's about if the mediums are going to favour us at all. I'm hoping that we're a little bit quicker than Schumacher on these mediums, and we can try something to get into 1st place. But into turn 1, just too eager. I'm kind of overdriving the car like we did a few episodes ago, where I'm getting so kind of eager and, you know, and kind of desperate to close up to Schumacher that I'm overdriving it, going too deep, trying to let it break too late basically. So I had to kind of recompose myself, kind of calm things down a bit. Lap 14, purple 2nd sector. The lap time is looking a little bit better. We might even get the new fast lap of the Grand Prix here. Yes, we do. So let's keep this up. Let's remain calm like this and just build up the speed and try and slowly close up to Schumacher, and we'll see what we can do. We've got a long 2nd stint to go, but at the moment Schumacher is just doing what he needs to do in 1st place, as you can clearly see there in 1st. But it's great to see the 1-2 for the Aarava Archer Racing, but another lock up there into turn 1, so still overdriving a little bit. Gasly in 3rd. It's then Leclerc in P4. Hang on a minute. So the Ferrari in his home race doing amazingly there for the Ferrari's home race, not obviously Leclerc's home race, Ferrari's home race, doing amazing there. And Latifi, much like the Belgium Grand Prix, remember, where he dropped off from, what was it, 4th or 5th, he's dropped off again at Italy after the first round of pit stops. Such a shame for the Canadian, but he's now behind Lando Norris and behind Hamilton, but he's ahead of Ocon, and Ocon is really struggling versus Hamilton, but it's not as bad as it is for George Russell, because here he is behind Carlos Sainz, and I believe this is for P10 and P9, so he's still only got 1 points paying position to his name as it stands in this Grand Prix, as on the next couple of laps then we finally see Ocon getting past a Williams car, which is a bit of a mad statement, but the Williams of Giotto doing a great job of just using the low drag nature of the Williams car to get into the points, and he's actually fighting Ocon quite nicely. He's actually done Ocon. Hang on a minute. He's actually re-overtaken Ocon here, so Ocon is really having an absolute stinker of a Grand Prix here. Can he get back past him? We're not going to see it quite yet. Don't think so right now. Ahead of them, Latifi, then Hamilton, Lando. He's controlling where he is right now. Looks like he's got a measure of Hamilton now. But Leclerc has gone away from those two. Leclerc, he's got sights on P3 here. Are we going to see a Ferrari on the podium here at Monza? That'll be quite something, because Ferrari definitely haven't had the pace for it. Meanwhile, as we got back to our kind of POV and where we are in the race, we are visually a lot closer to Schumacher now, and we could actually maybe have half a chance of going for the race win here, you know, late on. We'll have 6 laps to go when we end this one, and we're going to set maybe another new fast lap of the Grand Prix here, but we are a little bit low on fuel, and you can see just a bit of swirling at the rear. The tyres are starting to go off a little bit. The fuel, though, is the bigger thing, because I think I'm on minus 0.4, and we've got 6 laps left, so we're going to have to do a bit of fuel saving, but I'm kind of almost wanting to take the risk, just to try and put the pressure on Schumacher and see what we can do, and then worry about the fuel saving in the last maybe 2 or 3 laps. But meanwhile, as I said earlier, could we see a Ferrari go for the podium? There goes Leclerc, absolutely flying in this race. I'm pretty sure both Ferraris did actually get knocked out in Q2 here, so this is a really mega race performance from these two guys, because I think Gio is also somewhere in the mix, although I haven't seen him in the distances. In the background, you can see Hamilton v Lando there, actually, as we keep on focusing on Leclerc here, because he's up into P3, Gasly down to P4, but that was Lando and Hamilton fighting. But now moving on, I assume, to the very next end of the lap, and Gasly trying to come back through again. A nice slingshot off the back of Parabolica. DRS open for the Mercedes man, the Frenchman. Can he overtake Leclerc? He's getting close. He's gaining. Leclerc goes defensive. This is a great camera shot. Gasly round the outside, and he might do it. It's going to be a fantastic little move, but Leclerc just does enough to pinch him into the apex of the left-hander and gets the crucial exit on the right-hand side of the track to maintain the 3rd place. And then through the curve, can Gasly build enough speed to make a dive? At this point, I might have gone for one, but he's a bit too far back, and he's going to maintain P4. So we could see a Ferrari on the podium at Monza. That'd be quite something. It's been a while. But back to the important task at hand. Our POV lap 24, then 3 laps to go. We're pushing hard still within 1 second, but pushing a little bit too hard. They're a little bit deep into Ascari, and then on the exit curve, we have a massive moment there, and we somehow catch the car as we're going so quick into that next left-hander. The rear end could have snapped, and that could have been raced over, so I'm actually just thankful we caught that. But that is pretty much our chances of fighting Schumacher gone, because we lost about 2 seconds there. And you can see at the bottom right, I am on very low fuel. I'm half a lap under, and we've only got 3 laps left, so we're going to kind of back off. And you never want to do it, but, you know, kind of almost like they do in real life sometimes, except that we're not going to win here. Schumacher has done the business. He had a great lap 1, and to be honest, he's had the race pace to warrant winning this Grand Prix. He's been exceptional here today. We're going to accept the 2nd place, but remember, you know, Russell, I think he's still down the order, so this could be massive. This could be a massive swing for us in the championship, but this is the last lap then, and so on the last lap, Norris makes a big dive into Ascari for a very important P5 for those last few extra points from P6 to 5. It's a great dive bomb there by the Brit in the Red Bull car, and it's important because this man Russell, who is leading the championship, he's down the order, and so Mick Schumacher comes through for another win this season. We come home for 2nd place. It's another 1-2 for Aarava Archer Racing in this season. And it's a really surprising one at Monza of all places, but it's a big day in the office for myself, even for Lando, not so much for Ocon and for Schumacher in the championship.
Here we are then, a thoroughly deserved win in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on the track was today: speed. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, Crofty, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium.
So I believe this is our second 1-2 of the season, and both of them have been Schumacher leading me to the finish line, which is a little bit annoying, but fair play. He's been so quick today. He did deserve the win. We got close, made the mistake, but really all race he had the overwhelming pace to be there, and it's his third win of the season. We've had 2, he's had 3. You know, he was slow at the start of the season. That's why he's maybe not as close to all of us in the championship, despite having 1 extra win. But now that's coming to come through because in the championship now. But look at this, because Russell had an absolute mare, got stuck in traffic, and it actually got pushed down the order because the 2 Williams did a madness. Both Williams scored points here, and Russell was in P11 out the point. It's almost kind of like a fine seesaw balance from what me and Lando got last episode, and so it means we now lead the championship by 8 points. So it's a big old swing, and it seems like these last couple of races to the finale might just be a series of championship swings left and right to everyone in the fight, because it's Russell then in second, Norris in third, Schumacher now is only 1 point behind Lando Norris there, and Ocon is the one down in P5, 3 points back from Schumacher. So we've got, I still think Ocon's still in this thing, so I think it's a 5-way fight for the championship, but as it stands, I'm now feeling a little bit less kind of worried, a bit more comfy with 8 points. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed. We could easily lose this advantage like, you know, we did at Belgium straight away next episode, but it's a really good feeling to come away from Italy like this with a 1-2 for the team and take the lead of the championship. And constructors-wise, after, well, like I said, a second 1-2 this season, we are now looking very decent in the constructors. I think almost, I don't want to be too early on saying it, but I think we can be rest assured that as long as we don't have a disaster of, you know, double DNFs in the last few episodes, I think we're looking good to take home the final Constructors' Championship on this game. But it was a really, really decent race for us as a team, and it was a really poor one for others, and we benefited. And what an Italian Grand Prix to come to, a surprising one. Pole position for us, 1-2 in the race. Not what I thought. Guys, if you did enjoy the episode, hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, do subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.